Hello, I'm Chris. I hope you're doing well and having a good week so far. This is week 16 of Cornered by Books. I've no notes this week, so it's a bit off the dome. I know what I want to talk about, so yeah, we'll just get into it. So, what have I been up to? I've not been to the gym these last 2 weeks. I've been back on the studying, so I'm making sure I am studying, and then when I'm studying, I'm then tired, so I haven't really been to the gym, which I'm a bit disappointed with, but I can't be too hard on myself because I made that decision. I think one night we had a late night, and then I was like, well, I'm not going, and I decided not to go another night, and then I was like, well, I can get home and have some time to myself, so I just took the opportunity. So I know why I've not been to the gym and stuff. Other than that, not really been up to much. I did watch the movie The Holdovers, which I've been wanting to watch for a while, and it also features the Brattle in Boston that I'd love to go to, but it's quite far to get to. I've got a cat somewhere wandering about. Hopefully a short knock on my books off while I'm filming. Lost my train of thought now. Went for a walk last Saturday with my dog, well, our dog, and a friend's dog as well, and a friend, which was nice. Then went for a carvery on Saturday. Sunday just chilled out, really. Had a nap as well Sunday, and then watched the Holdover Sunday, which was good. So yeah, I've got quite a lot I want to talk about, but not as much as last week. I'm going to mention a few things. So I'm planning... I'm not going to mention, usually at the end of the month, I mention what books I've read from, like, what states and stuff like that. Like when I've mentioned, like, oh, I've read, Thomas Pynchon from New York or whatever, I'm going to leave that to the end of the year, so then I'm going to do a full year-end wrap-up of new authors, favourite books, least favourite books, and so on and so forth. And how many books I read and stuff. So I'll probably do that at the end of the year. What else? Yeah, I think that's it I wanted to talk about. I need to catch up on tags as well. I want to try and see what Mike has tagged me in that I've not done at some point as well. And I need to get back on with the book tour. I don't know if you can see the cat there, just behind that book there. There you go. That's what I was saying. Yeah, so not really been up to much else really. Like I say, a lot of studying, but I'm managing to do a lot of it in work. Tomorrow I've got CBT, so I'm having to leave early. So I might have to do an hour back later on tomorrow studying, but I'd rather do that than jump back online and work, because I'll be bringing my studying stuff home anyway. So it's not much more to bring my studying stuff. It's not much more to bring my study stuff back, rather than that on my laptop. So I'm going to move on to what I've read before I keep rambling. I read 4 books this week. Didn't read as many as I was hoping to have read by this point, because I've got a couple that I'm getting towards the end of. But I'll mention what I've read. So I finished The Jigsaw Man by Paul Britton. This was a reread, but I hadn't read this copy of it before. I don't know about other people, but to me that's an unread book on my shelf, because I haven't read this book, if that makes sense. Like if I'd already read it, then it would be I've read the copy. It wouldn't be an unread book. But yeah, it's really good. He's a forensic psychologist. It goes into a bit about him. It goes on to how he started doing this, what cases he helped with the police. It also mentions, like, you see a bit of how it affects him as well. But it's so good. But it's really interesting. I'd highly recommend this if you're into true crime, or if you're into psychological sort of things. But it's really good. Really enjoyed it. I want to get to it. I want to reread it. but I want to look for his other one. I think his other one's called Picking Up the Pieces. So it gives me something to look for. And I like when I go out in charity shops, I'm actually not like, if I can't see that, I'm not buying anything. But if you've got a couple of books you're looking for, it's kind of interesting. And then I finished Set the Boy Free by Johnny Marr, which I found really interesting. Like I said, in my last video, we didn't really mention, the split with Morrissey. There was no animosity there, although it felt like he was quite open and candid about it, and it's quite a shame. They did seem to meet a couple of times, but the Smiths never reunited, which is a shame. But yeah, it's a really interesting book. I really enjoyed it. The thing I found with also biographies about musicians, there's not much more that you don't know. If that makes, to me anyway, I don't know if that's just me, but like, I knew we were in the Smiths. I knew how he met Morrissey, and and I knew he was in the Cribs and Modest Mouse. I didn't know he was in the and Electronic and stuff. But what I did learn wasn't much, because you kind of, I suppose if I had no interest in Johnny Marr, then I'd probably get a lot more out of it. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But then there are books that I'd reread, like Lemmy, that I find really... But I think that's the way it's written, I don't know. But yeah, so I read that. I finished, that was a library book. And also I finished Confidence by Roxy Mafusi, which was good. It was like 8 steps to knowing your worth. It was really interesting. Some steps I didn't quite gel with, like I said in the last video, the comparison, I don't really compare. Like today, coming out of work, me and Ross are leaving at the same time, and Ross is a year younger than me and has his own house, and he's bought his own house and got 2 cars, and he's in a better job than me, and he's qualified. Fair play to him, he's worked hard, do you know what I mean? I don't really compare. And then a few of the chapters, I just found it a bit, I'm not sure if I don't know, I was a bit on the fence when it comes to the end of it, but yeah, I found it quite interesting at the start, and I feel like it's really good. Glad I read it, but I've got You Are a Badass I want to get to now at some point. Yeah, so that's the 3rd book I finished, and then I finished a graphic novel. So I decided to read this last night because I was on my own, and it was like, I'm not going to be back for an hour, and I thought, well, I may be able to read this in an hour. So I sat down and I read Sin City, The Big Fat Kill by Frank Miller. I'm reading them in order. Excuse me, they are numbered, but this is number 3, but I'm actually reading them in chronological order. So I've read the first 4, I think. I think there's 7 altogether. The next one I've got to read is Family Values, which actually I haven't pulled out for my video, but yeah, we'll carry on with that. Yeah, so I read that in an hour, and I just sat and read. I wasn't expecting to, wasn't planning on doing it, just kind of happened that way. So that's the 4th book I finished. So I'm not counting graphic novels on my my reading projects, like my 52 books reading challenge that my partner set me, and I'm not mentioning it on like certain things, because so I'm not mentioning it on, because I just think that's took me an hour to read, so I don't think it should count really, because I think that's, plus it's a reread, so I decided they weren't going to count, but I still want to read them. And then what I'm reading, so I'm reading Sherlock Holmes's A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle, which I'm really enjoying. I'm in the middle of a chapter, so I was going to finish that chapter and then move on. I'm also got a couple of other books on the go. I'm going to mention my novel first. So I'm still working my way through Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I'm really enjoying this. I'm on page 472. So I'm planning on finishing this tonight if I can. I've got about 75 pages or so left. So yeah, that's going to be priority one. I also decided to start Unknown Pleasures after finishing Johnny Marr, Set the Boy Free, because I fancied like carrying on with the music, with the non-fiction, kind of dip my toe into something that... So I was going to read Andy Warhol's Popism, but decided against it because it seemed like it was in years and it was quite a chunk to read, so I decided I could just dip in and out of this. But I have actually read... It's in 5 parts, and I've read the first 2 parts, so I'm quite a far way in. So I'm about 100 pages in already, and I've only picked it up twice. I've just read a part in each sitting, so it's really interesting. It's about Joy Division, which is read by Peter Hook, who was the bassist in Joy Division and New Order. He also wrote Substance, which I've never read. This is a reread again, but I didn't have this copy. I got rid of my copy, so it's an unread book as far as I'm concerned, because I've actually not read that copy. But I'm enjoying it, so yeah, I'm hoping to carry on with those. And Sherlock Holmes, I've got to finish my chapter, but I wanted to film this first. I'm making my way through The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. I've managed to read 1 so far of this today. I read 3 usually a day, but I didn't realise how long they were today, and I was running late for work as it was. So that's that. And I've not read it on my lunch break either because I had to get back to do some work. And then finally I'm still reading the art book. It got a bit too much trying to read too many artists at once, but I am on to the final section, which is Modernism to Pop. So I've got a few left to read. So I've got Klee, Picasso, the likes of Klee, Picasso. Let's see what else we've got that I've not read about. I don't know. O'Keeffe, Miro, Magritte, I don't know how you pronounce that. Rothko, Dali, Frida Kahlo, Pollock, Lichtenstein, and of course the man himself that I just mentioned, Andy Warhol. So yeah, I've got a few to read, so I'll probably try and finish Dostoevsky and then carry on with Rick Rubin, and then carry on with that and get some art read as well at some point. So that's that. And then next up, I'm going to mention what I'm reading next. So, Family Values I want to read. I think I'll probably try and read this in one sitting again, just because it's quite short. Flicking through it, there doesn't look like there's much text. And it's about 100 pages, so I'll probably try and get that read. I might try and do a Friday reads, maybe tomorrow or in the morning, or well, maybe not in the morning, but yeah, I might try and do a Friday reads if I get chance. So that'll probably be on that list, Friday reads, as well as the art book and Rick Rubin and thingy. And then what I want to read next, so I've got them in order of how I fancy reading them. So next up, I got this one from the library when I took Conference, Johnny Marr and Dennis Lehane back. This is Train Dreams by Dennis Johnson. And when I got it, I seen a video of a guy saying, this is a novella that I really like, that everyone should read, or whatever he said. I can't remember now, I'm paraphrasing, but I was like, what novella? I was like, and he was like, it's this. So I'm going to read this next, because there's also a movie that I want to try and get to on Netflix, with it's got the same name. It says, Robert Granier is a day labourer in the American West, felling the trees that feed the railways. It is the start of the 20th century, and the world is changing at a rapid pace. But life is fragile in the wilds of the frontier. Disease and forest fires are rife. Buffeted by the loss of his family, Granier journeys struggling to make sense of the bewildering changes transforming the nation. So I'm hoping to get through that. I think it's only 116 pages. So yeah, that's on my, probably, them two, definitely Friday reads. And then one I want to get to before the end of the month, because we should have read it this month, but I only found my copy not last night, maybe the night before, and that's Cop-Eater by Ed McBain. This one says, swift, silent and deadly, someone is killing the 87th Precinct's finest. When Detective Reardon is found dead, motive is a big question mark. But when his partner becomes victim number 2, it looks like open and shut grudge killings. That is until a third detective is murdered. With one meagre clue, Detective Steve Carella begins his grim search for the killer, a search that takes him into the city's underworld, to a notorious brothel, to the apartment of a beautiful and dangerous widow, and finally to a 45 automatic aimed straight at his head. So that sounds really good, but I want to try and read that this weekend. I think it's 188 pages, so I want to try and read half it on Saturday, half it on Sunday, start it Friday if I can. And then I want to read The Employees by Olga Revin, because I'm really intrigued by this premise of it being, like I said the other day, just statements that they make in the book, different people. So that sounds really interesting. Oh, it says on the back, no, it doesn't say on the back. On the 6,000 ship, things have started to feel exchanged since bringing aboard a new number of strange objects from a newly discovered planet. The crew, both human and humanoid, have begun to feel a yearning. They want to be near the objects, to feel them pressed against their skin, but they also all now feel a curious new hunger for a home. Earth, that place many cannot even remember. The board of directors is eager to understand more, and so instructs a commission to interview each of the employees. Those who are born dream of soil, the smell of warm asphalt, the sound of animals and birds. Those who are made know only what is programmed, and yet feel it deeply, truly. As their testimonies accumulate, a tapestry of longing and quiet rebellion emerges, blurring the lines between work and life, between human and machine. So that sounds good. And then I'll probably start this before I start that, but this is a buddy read with Mike. I read Red Dragon and then he read it, so we're going to read The Silence of the Lambs, which is the second one in the Hannibal thing. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet. We've not decided, but we're starting this on the 1st. I don't know whether I'll start it and Mike catches up, or Mike starts it and I catch up, or we make a plan of chapters. I don't know. We'll sort that out. But yeah, starting that on Monday. And then finally, the next one I want to read then is The Mugger, because on Criminal's challenge, I'm not mentioning that because in case you've not read Red Dragon, and I don't know if there's any spoilers on the back, and I don't know and then because of Criminal's channel, he's reading the 87 Precincts books, and I have them. I've had them a while and wanted to get to them. I have the first two, Cop-Eater and The Mugger. I think the third one's The Pusher, which I'm going to have to pick up, but I'm not sure what I've got after that. So that's why I want to read The Mugger after the Cop-Eater. But yeah, so that's a carry-on. I'm not going to mention that. So that's what I plan reading. So I'm just going to quickly show them. So Cop-Eater, The Mugger, Silence of the Lambs, The Employees, Train Dreams by Dennis Johnson, Frank Miller's Sin City, and then obviously carry on what I'm reading as well. But I'm hoping to get to Train Dreams tomorrow and Sin City, and then, like I say, start Cop-Eater Saturday. I like the idea of reading Cop-Eater at the weekend, because it's quite, like when I'm out with my son, that'll fit in my back pocket and I can just, you're watching YouTube for half an hour? You want to go on your bike? So yeah, it's a good one for that. So that's what I read. That's hopefully where I'll get to. Like I say, I'm hoping to finish the art book by next Thursday, as well as Dostoevsky, as well as Unknown Pleasures. Rick Rubin I'll still be carrying on with, and hopefully finish Sherlock Holmes and read the next one. So that's that. Anyway, hope you're having a good week. Hope you're enjoying what you're reading, and I will speak to you in the next one. I have also got a parcel to open that I'm going to open on camera, probably at the weekend now, because I want to have time to open it and don't want to rush my video. So that will be that. I've no idea what's in it till I open it, so we'll see. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.